Hello traders and welcome to a new 5-minute video. I think this should be just 5 minutes that will absolutely transform your trading and give you access to just a ton of alpha. If you want the full story of this strategy and really how to news trade, how to pull this off, join the Discord, link in the description below, and you can really learn how to do it. Okay, here's the strategy. There are major news events at 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern typically. And we can see this from the Forex Factory website right here. As you can see, all this calendar, this is what we're going to be talking about. Now, sometimes numbers come out that have a very strong effect on not only the stock market, but also Bitcoin. Anything very bullish for the American economy is almost always bullish for Bitcoin. Anything very bearish for, the stock market, American economy is going to be very bearish for Bitcoin. So good for America, good for Bitcoin, bad for America, bad for Bitcoin, right? Okay. Now, we don't always have the ability to read a news source and get the numbers and take a trade right away. There's a better way to do it. What is that better way? Well, the U.S. stock market and Bitcoin are going to react quite quickly. So here's what you should probably be doing. When it gets to about a minute before the report, this is what you should be doing. So this is what actually ended up happening Thursday, April 11th. All these numbers came out. You don't really need to understand them because this is going to be a very short-term trade of just one-to-one risk reward. That's really what you should be more focused on. Now, for you to pull off this exact strategy, it's best that you have an exchange that has low fees and a lot of liquidity, okay, for you to really do this. If you really want to go into the numbers and understand the news, you totally can, but this is going to be more just purely directional trading on looking at the SPY, the US stock market, taking a trade on Bitcoin. So with the SPY, as you can see, what happened at 8:30 a.m. is very important. If you look at the 8:30 on the top chart, that is the US stock market. If you look at the 8:30 on the bottom chart, if you find it, the x-axis, that is Bitcoin. Now, what you can probably see is the stock market rose a lot, very quickly. This is a 1 second time frame. Bitcoin did as well. So how do we trade this? What you do is, I'd say 2 to 3 seconds after the news comes out, the US stock market will react. If the stock market's up, you buy. If the stock market's down, you sell. Bitcoin, that is. Now, with these trades, it's super important that you have a good handle on the risk. You can do what you want with the stop loss and take profit, but from all these things that I'm looking at, maybe on Bitcoin, like a 1% take profit, maybe 0.5% take profit with maybe a 0.5% stop loss. Whatever you want to do is really up to you. But these are trades that you can take. Now, it's tempting to go very high leverage on these kinds of events because you can make a lot of money. You can, but it's also not always a great idea to go very high leverage, even when you have a very strong belief that it's just going to keep going higher, such as a news event like this. Now, it might be hard for you to kind of tell, but these charts are actually the exact same time. So they both end at the exact same time. And you can see just how correlated they are. So once you get the initial pump from the SPY, the US stock market, it's really a good idea to probably buy Bitcoin or long Bitcoin. So that would have been a great time. Let's go forward into another example right here. This one I think wasn't as volatile, but still very important to talk about. This was Thursday, April 25th. Now you can see 8:30 a.m., some numbers came out. Here's what happened. Look at the SPY, the SPY US stock market. Very rapid move. At 8:30 a.m., these numbers came out. Within 2 seconds, the stock market was up. You need to be able to buy before that initial pump. Now, had you done that, you would have got in at probably around 64,280. And then you could see at the most current price of the chart that I'm showing you, the price was about 64, I think like 450, topped out at maybe 64,500. So these are very quick trades that you can make a fair amount of money on. It's just you really need to know what you're doing in order to do that. And that's why I've created the Discord that I have. And I do want to pivot more in the Discord community to news trading and really perfecting these types of trades. So if you want to do this on your own with the knowledge that I'm giving you, sure, go ahead. But if you want more access to indicators and strategies that I think are very powerful, that I'm going to keep behind the Discord, then join in and you'll see them with new stuff. Okay, let's go into the final example. Friday, May 3rd, 8:30 a.m. A lot of news came out. What happened? Stock market, same thing. Stock market rose. Now, these three examples are not going to tell it doesn't the stock market doesn't always rise on news. Obviously, that's not the case, you know. But with these three examples, the stock market did. So don't just like buy every time at 8:30 a.m. That's not gonna work. You need to see the reaction of the stock market and then trade Bitcoin. So let's look here. So at 8:30 a.m., about 1 to 2 seconds later, the stock market was up multiple dollars, which is a lot for the SPY because it's only 508, 507. And look what happened to Bitcoin. Just clean glide up. Went from 59, what was it, like 59 100 up to 59 700, 59 800. Easily you could have made a 1% take profit. So these strategies can be very, very powerful. But what you really need to be successful, if you're just going to do this at 8:30 a.m. Eastern with major news events, you really need to have the ability to have very low fees. And you need to have the ability to trade on an exchange that is very, very liquid. Now, there is MEXC, MEXC, the exchange that you could use because it is, I think, only 1 basis point or 0.01% for fees of a market order. And the liquidity obviously is quite good. So you could make money there and then resist the temptation to go very, very high on leverage. But I did want to bring this to your guys' attention and make a really cool, helpful 5-minute video. Bit over 5 minutes, but I do think that this is a really interesting strategy. It's not just trading 1 second correlation of the US stock market to Bitcoin. They're very, very correlated, by the way. It's trading more these major news events that are planned events, and what do we do with them? Now, if you're more curious about unplanned events that isn't this, a completely different kinds of news trading, then join the Discord and we can talk more about that. But with that, happy trading. I hope that this is helpful. And the next time you should be looking at this is going to be, after this video, you can see how this performs. We can go here. The next week, we have all of these numbers. In the first one, we got Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. Definitely check it out. And Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. and Thursday, 8:30 a.m. If there's any major reaction from the SPY, the SPY, the US stock market, like that, or like that, or like that, then that would be a very, very good time for you to think about entering along into Bitcoin. Of course, not financial advice. Happy trading. Go make your own money and buy me a Lambo after you're done. Just joking. See you guys.